Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bob Garrison. I'm a board of director with the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce, and I'm happy to be here today. On behalf of the Chamber, we're having a series of interviews with local candidates for the Pittsburgh Unified School District and also the City Council. And today, we are pleased to have Dionne Adams here with us, who's running for City Council. Dionne, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here.
Um, I want to direct everybody to go to pittsburgh.vote if they'd like to see any information about the candidates, their web pages, Facebook pages, etc. This video can also be seen after we're done at pittsburgh.vote. So with that, Dionne, I'll turn the time over to you and let you introduce yourself to us. Tell us about your background and upbringing and connection to Pittsburgh.
Great. Well, thank you, first off, for having me. I also serve on the chamber board, so it's nice to be here with colleagues and people I consider friends. My name's Dionne Adams. I am running for Pittsburgh City Council. I am was born and raised here in Pittsburgh, and my family's been here for 4 generations. And so I attended Pittsburgh Public Schools here, and just have a genuine love and passion for our city. And so I have been working. I work in the utility business. I work for PG&E. I've been working there for 20 years, and I've worked in the area of public policy and regulatory affairs. I've worked in diversity, equity, and inclusion. I've designed customer and community programs for our within our company that touch Pittsburgh, and programs that go from Central California all the way up north to the Oregon border. And I've also worked in supplier diversity, helping businesses scale and be able to compete for business and serving us, helping us serve our customers. And I've also worked in marketing, and so I have a wide range of professional experience that I'd like to bring to Pittsburgh. And so that's why that's a little bit about me, and why I'm here, why I'm interested in being in this race.
Great. I find it interesting in Pittsburgh. It seems like a lot of people that go off and go to school and start their careers come back to Pittsburgh, and I always find that fascinating. Why do you think that is? What I'm sure you've seen that in your life here.
I have. I think it's I tell people a lot, growing up, Pittsburgh loved me into who I am. And so when you get to a place where you can give back, you want to come back to a place so you can return it. And so that's what I think happens. And so I did go off and I went to school. I went to San Francisco State, got my bachelor's in marketing, and then I got my master's in public policy from Golden Gate University. And after school, I didn't come back because I wanted to live closer to where I worked. And I was there for a time, but it just didn't feel like home. And so I came back to Pittsburgh because I wanted to be at home. And there's something about knowing who your librarian is, knowing who your counselor is. My counselor in junior high school was my mom's school teacher. And when I was in college looking for a job, and I needed to work while I was putting myself through college, Dow Chemical gave me a job while I was in college. And so it's things like that where you think about how people in the city, we're just here for each other at every turn. And so I'm raising 3 boys now. I have 3 sons, and I want them to experience that.
That's great. That's one of the things I love about Pittsburgh. And so you mentioned your sons. You've got a career. You've got a family that you're raising. You're a member of the board of directors for the Pittsburgh Chamber. You're very busy. Why have you decided to run for Pittsburgh City Council?
Um, why not? This is my city. I'm here. And so since I returned a couple of years ago. I was getting tapped by people who had nonprofits in this area. You know, I've done some work with First Five California, helping them with some school readiness programs and helping parents support their children before they get to school. I've sat on the board for STS Academy and helping them with some of their initiatives or programming around how we can skill up students to be ready for the workforce or just enrichment, working and focusing on the whole child. And I also sit on the planning commission for the city. So I'm already serving. And as I thought about my skills and experience, and being in a place where I can actually impact decisions that are being made, specifically around, budgets, staffing, our guidance, and where we're going, and getting us to my tagline is building our future together. How can I be a part of helping that future? And so I thought about my experience, I thought about things that I'm already doing, and then I thought about how can I help Pittsburgh get to the next level. And so I accepted the call or the thought to run for city council because I think that those are things I can bring to the table. And with my regulatory experience, I have managed cases that are the size of our city's budget. And so I know how to look at the public purpose sort of ratio and um, economics around it. How can you look at the money that we're spending, the impact that we're trying to make, and make sure that it's being used in the places that where we need it, and then also those tipping points to get us to where we're trying to go.
Right.
And so those are things I want to bring to the city, and I think that they'd be valuable to our city if I shared that skill set and experience and expertise.
Sure. What do you see as the biggest challenges facing the city of Pittsburgh now and maybe into the future? What are the things that keep you up at night?
What I think about most is that our city's changing, so our demographics are changing. And so we have some, well established families that have been here for a long time, and then we have new families that are here from other parts of the Bay Area and other parts of the country that have seen different programs and things that can work here. And so it's bringing those two mindsets together in a way that we can grow and create, evolve our city to where these new demographics that are coming together, how can we, capture the good things that will work here, and then how do we shift from things that we've done for a long time because we do them into this is what we need right now and this is what we need for the future. And so I think that that's a challenge for us, and with that comes a lot of different things. So I think about the businesses. So we have businesses here, but we don't have a lot of large businesses in the city. And so we need to find a way to attract bigger businesses, large businesses here, one, for the sake of jobs and to help with our revenue of the city. But we have some infrastructure things that we need to work on to make that happen. We need to have better data capabilities. We're in the age of technology. And so we have to have some capabilities to be able to support businesses that need to move data to support their business and make sure they get things real time or pretty darn close to it. Because if you can't move data to have your workforce be able to do their job, then that doesn't help the business.
Right.
So I think infrastructure is a challenge for us. And then as someone who works in the Oakland, San Francisco area, the more larger businesses we can have more local jobs for people. And so I don't want us to become a community where people get up and they go to work and they leave during the day. If you could be here, there's something that's really. My mom worked at Dow Chemical growing up, and I loved the fact that my mom could come to my school within 15 minutes from her job during the day to bring me lunch or to bring me lunch money or to pick me up if I was sick. And so there are those conveniences that you can have when you work in your community, and so I want that to be the case. But we have to explore tax incentives and ways that we can retain larger businesses. We have lots of land here in the city that we could use to develop for larger businesses to come, and so we need to explore that. I know that I've seen some of our city plans. I don't know them all by heart yet, but I know that we're exploring some of that already, and so I want to help bring that to fruition and have like this long range look at that. And then for the smaller businesses, when you go downtown in Pittsburgh, I'm happy to see that we have some smaller businesses that are coming, but we need more. Like there, I would love to have foot traffic in
Right.
downtown Pittsburgh where people can go and, you know, have a glass of wine, you know, play pool, you know, get some yogurt, you know, do some shopping. And so I see it coming, and we have to continue to support and invest in small businesses to bring them downtown, but also to help them stay. And there are other pockets within the city where we have, you know, some strip malls and some places where we could have some small businesses, and some of them are coming. And so I'm happy to see that. But that's how we could thrive as a city, and those small businesses also create jobs.
Right.
And so um, those are things that I think are challenges that will help us really get to the future, and the type of businesses that we have, the things that people want to, um, businesses that they want to support, places they want to eat, places they want to shop, or just places they want to, you know, just chill out. You know,
Right.
those are challenges that I
Right.
see.
As you've talked to, businesses in the city now, or business owners, what are some of the things that they're facing, challenges that they're facing, and how would you try to help the existing businesses in the city thrive?
Well, I know COVID's been really hard for businesses. They You don't have the foot traffic, um, for people to come and actually, you know, purchase what you're selling. I think for businesses, um, you know, how can we support them? I think just more outreach to them, finding out what they are, what they need. I spent some time with, you know, a few businesses. I've walked up and down Railroad just meeting some new businesses. And what I'm hearing is, you know, it's hard, the rents are expensive. Um, they're not quite ready for brick and mortar. And because we have this, um, you know, we have e-commerce. So a lot of businesses don't necessarily have to be brick and mortar, but what can we do to help them? So they want advice and guidance on how can we move to a brick and mortar model. And so one of the great things I love about the chamber is we actually talk to businesses about, you know, what can you do to create some revenue for yourself so you can get to that place.
Right.
Like during COVID, we had people buy gift cards. So businesses were still making revenue during that time period. And so um, what I hear from them is, you know, I can't necessarily pay the rent. So it's really counseling them on how can you make more revenue to get you to that place where you actually could have, a brick and mortar business so more people can see you and come. And some of them don't have the technology capabilities around like driving, marketing their business. And so that's another thing that I'm hearing from small businesses. I'm so busy, I don't have time to do an Instagram page. And so something we do at the chamber is actually telling businesses or connecting them with people to help them, because that's how you get people to come to your business. If they don't know you're here,
Right.
they won't come.
Right. I noticed on your website you talked about um, the hope that Pittsburgh could become like a destination city. How do you see that happening? Kind of what would be your vision for Pittsburgh in terms of being a destination city?
I would like to see more businesses here and jobs. So, you know, I want people to be proud to work, live, and play here. So, more businesses with jobs, more open parks, you know, with different facilities that people can enjoy. I would love to have a skate park, for our kids. Um, my kids are skateboarders, and, you know, it's just a good way to get out your energy. So things like that, flexible, and different housing options for our different demographics. So we have a millennial generation that doesn't want a house with a yard. They want a condo type of place to live that's close to shopping, walking, public transportation, um, housing for the different demographics and generations that we have, and then different price points. So, you know, everybody deserves to have housing, and I would like to see us have more options for people, so that they can live here, afford to live here, If you want to work far away, that's your choice. But if you want to live close to where you work, we want to give you that choice too. And so those are some of the things that I think we could do. And then I also think about traffic. You know, when I was a kid here, our population was around 45,000 people. We're edging up to 80,000 people, so it's doubled. And so, looking at our streets and our roads, what do we need to do to mitigate traffic for people? Because it takes me a long time to get down Railroad Avenue now to get to the freeway, and so those are things that we have to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Switching gears from business to the residents, as you've gone out and talked to your prospective constituents, what are some of the issues that you're hearing from Pittsburgh citizens that they're concerned about?
So folks are concerned about safety. I think um, in Pittsburgh we do have crime, but when I look at some other cities, our crime rate could be a lot worse. Um, and I'm not saying that it can't be improved because I think that's important. And so when I talk to residents, they are concerned about their safety because of things they're seeing on the news that are happening. And so when I think about that, I know that our existing council has a good relationship with the police department and that the police department's been really transparent about sharing data. Anything from my knowledge that the police department wants to know. Um, I'm sorry, that the city council wants to know, the police department's been providing them that data. I'd like to look at that data a little more closely and see, what types of crimes are happening and what kind of interventions you can create for them. Because what I know is that a lot of times when people are committing crimes, they are in a place of need themselves. So what can we do for them? I have a friend that I know, the former Stockton mayor, who shared with me in an instance where they had a lot of crime happening in their city, and they just looked at the data to see who was committing the crimes and reached out to those people and helped them get jobs. And they started to see a shift in the crime that's happening. And so it's things like that that I want us to explore as a city. And I'm also excited that DA Dinah Becton is doing a restorative justice initiative. And I think things like those really help curb crime because, a lot of times restorative justice is the place where you can actually help people um, who might think that, committing crimes or taking that chance is the answer. But how can we help you be productive and improve your quality of life, and then that improves the quality of life for us as a city. And so I think about that when I think about public safety, when I hear from residents.
Yep.
I know that there's some parts of our city that want a brand new grocery store. In the San Marcos area, I hear that we're close to getting a brand name grocery store there. And a lot of times, what people don't realize is that when you are trying to bring certain businesses here, like Starbucks is a great example. They don't go into certain communities unless they see what your demographics look like that meet their customer base or who they're trying to reach.
Right.
And so we are getting to a place where we can attract businesses because of our demographics. And so there's a level of patience that we have to have publicly, but just transparency around it. We're going to get this one, and when you look at how we're growing, we're probably going to get another one because of the first one. And so bit by bit you get there. So that's one concern that I hear. People are like, I want more choices for grocery stores. And then what else do I hear from residents? I do hear that people are new to the city. They want to feel connected to us because they recognize how we are long generations here, just families that are here. And someone that I met that moved here a few years ago said, I love when I go out and I see you guys and you guys just love each other. I want some of that. And I think that's what I hear from people. They're like, I want some of that Pittsburgh love. And I'm like, you got it. And so that's something that I do hear from residents. And I want, we're community. We're all about community in Pittsburgh. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. As a kid that grew up in Antioch, there was always a rivalry, but I could never deny the fact that the pride in Pittsburgh is very, very strong, and it's very, very cool to see. Um, on your website, you also mentioned youth programs and senior programs. What are some of the ideas that you have to bolster programs available to those groups in the city?
Um, oh gosh, I've seen so many programs. I lived in Oakland for a time, and I lived in San Leandro for a time, and so I, don't sit on not. We have a whole school board, of trustees that are doing a phenomenal job with the public schools. My thoughts around our youth are what can we do to help with the whole child, the other things outside of school that you need support and knowledge about, things around financial literacy, um, safety. How do you keep yourself safe, and um, how do you make sure that other people feel safe around you? Um, and then I think about, I'm big on manners and etiquette, and I think that that's something that we don't necessarily help our youth with, how to be comfortable in different settings, and then having a diversity lens. I'm all about owning who you are, and I think it's important to celebrate what makes you unique, and but also being comfortable. And then also, there's nothing wrong with being in different settings. When you go to a presidential dinner, this is how, you this is what's on the program. This is who's gonna be here.
Right.
We want you here at the table.
Right.
Come on in. And so I think that's important for our youth, to be comfortable in their skin. And it's when we do that, they excel, because when you can be who you are, you really can bring your gifts and talents to anything that you do. And so I think about that for our youth. And then recreation. I know we're having the Marina Center is going to be opening, which I spent a lot of time there when I was a kid. We don't have a community center where kids can, play sports, participate on teams. I think that's important,
Right.
For us, for our youth. And then, any other way that we could support our youth. I know where I lived in a more metropolitan city, we had a large population of homeless teens and young people. I don't know what the demographics of our youth are, but if we have youth that are in that situation, I want to support them too, because I think everybody deserves that security. And so when I think about the youth, those are things that are on my mind, but I'm open to hear other things, because again, you always want to hear people's stories,
Right.
about what their situation is. And my goal is just to meet people where they are. And then for our seniors, we have a lot of seniors here that have done so much in our community and given back to us. And so I want to celebrate that, and but also support them. I have heard an unfortunate story of a friend of mine, um, who's in her 90s, where someone fraudulently put their name on the title of their home. And so helping her get out of that situation, because a lot of our seniors get scammed out of things. Sometimes people that they know, and sometimes people that they don't know. So education and support for seniors, that are being preyed upon,
Right.
um, and losing everything that they've worked for. And then also, celebrating that. We have a senior center here, and literacy around, how to be safe online, you know, how to be on Facebook,
Right.
proms maybe for our seniors, where they can, have their time together and celebrate. So I love our seniors. I want to make sure that they have what they need, um, and I want them to feel safe, knowing that the city cares about them too.
That's great. I've never thought of the prom idea. That would be very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in your professional career, it sounds like you use data and analytics to kind of drive um, results. How would you use those skills that you've developed in your professional life as a member of the council?
Um, in a lot of different ways. So, I talked about, that I have regulatory experience, and I have cases that go before our Public Utilities Commission and sometimes for our Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and large budgets, and looking line by line at different things that are being proposed and the justification for them and what the desired outcome is. And so when we're looking at where we want to spend dollars, those are the questions that I would be asking. And in the case of if we're wanting to provide incentives to businesses or subsidize things where we live, looking at what is a price point that people will participate in. So years ago, I managed rebate programs. So when you used to walk into Home Depot and you get, $3, $5 off a CFL, to help you be more energy efficient in your practices, those were programs that I did. And before I identified what the rebate amount was, I had to think about how much you were willing to spend. And I had to talk to the manufacturer about the price to manufacture those particular products. And so it's important to know where the consumer is and what they can afford and what makes sense, and really time out or figure out the length of the program, with projections for income, projections in behavior, for spending, or different mandates that are coming down the pike as far as codes and standards for different products that are coming to market. And so, in my experience, all these data points may seem like a lot to other people, but they're important data points to figure out the sweet spot of what to bring to market to serve a need of a customer or a business or a resident or a senior, and that sort of thing. And so those are things that I would bring to the work to figure out, what do we do exactly, and is it going to work? And then testing it with people. We did a lot of focus groups, and so I would also like to, check in with some of the people that this will be impacting to see, okay, what do you think about this? If I say this, what does that mean to you? So that I know that it's going to work and that it's something also that our community wants.
Right.
Yeah.
So, along the same lines, the city council, what are some things that you think the council is doing well, and maybe what are some things that you think they can do better?
I don't know everything the council does. I will admit that honestly. Um, I think they've hired a great city manager. I think Garrett is a great partner with the city. I think they have a great partnership with our police department. I feel like, for the most part, they are a team, so they've got that working for them as well. And I see them out in the community, so they are listening to people and asking questions. And so I think that that is something that's working well. I think, as far as what's not working well, I can't say what's not working well, but I know what's ahead of the council. We're in a good place budget wise as a city. There are some long term plans that um, are part of the general plan that I've seen as a planning commissioner. And so the challenge is going to be bringing those focus areas forward and staying in tune with what the community needs. And so I think I can't gauge how I think they're doing, but I know that that's what one of the challenges, or I won't even say one, there's a bunch of different
Sure.
challenges that come with that.
Sure. What are some things that you'd want the voters of Pittsburgh to know about you? Maybe um, some fun facts about Dionne that you'd like the voters to know about you as they go into uh, you know uh, click their vote.
I think that what I would like people to know is that I'm very much, I'm big on equity. As a DEI practitioner, it's important for me to, that's the way I look at things. I look at who's here. I look at who needs what and where. There's a difference between equality and equity. equality is giving everybody a bike, but equity is giving people who need a training wheels, person who needs 3 wheels, giving them a bike with 3 wheels, um, or maybe you gotta be there next to someone and help them ride their bike. And so, for me, it's important that people know that that's where my heart is. Making sure that people have what they need to be successful, and and if I was elected to the council, I would, I'd bring that lens, but then also this public policy lens that I have as well, because there's a lot of things to consider, and I think my expertise would help a lot. And the other thing is that I love Pittsburgh. I really do, and I think that we talk about bleeding orange and black. Um, my family has been here for 4 generations and served in different capacities in this city, whether in public office, teaching, ministry, taking care of the elderly. And so I have a heart to serve, and I'm an inclusive leader, and I want to bring that to our city and to our people.
Great. Well, Dionne, thanks for coming today. We really appreciate your time. I want to just give you a couple minutes to give a final elevator pitch to the voters of Pittsburgh, and we'll close it with that.
Okay, great. Well, to my Pittsburgh family and residents and business owners, I'm Dionne Adams. I am running for Pittsburgh City Council, and I'm asking for your vote on November 8th or sooner if you're sitting in your mail in ballots. I am running to address housing and insecurities that may exist within our city, to improve public safety, improve our infrastructure and our investment for our city. And I also am committed to bringing businesses to Pittsburgh and retaining them and supporting local jobs so that our community can grow and have a better quality of life. I am so grateful for this opportunity, and I hope to get your vote on November 8th. Thank you.
Thanks, Dionne. And where can voters go to find more about you and your campaign?
Oh, thank you. You can go to Adams, the number 4, Pittsburgh.com. That's my website address.
Great. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Go to www.pittsburgh.vote if you'd like to watch this interview again or find out more about Dionne and the other candidates for City Council and the school board. Thanks again.